I've been doing YouTube for over 9 years. It actually just this past week was 9.5 years since I uploaded my first YouTube video. I was 9 years old, and I had an iPhone 4. It was one of my mom's old phones at the time, and this was right before the iPhone got really slim. It had a little bit of thickness to it, just enough thickness that it could stand up on its side. So the way I recorded my first video was I had a 3DS, and I had it held up so my iPhone 4 sitting on its side horizontally could record the screen of my Nintendo 3DS while I played Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. And that was my first ever video. And man, so much has changed since then. So much has happened. I'm a different person. YouTube's a different platform. The world is a different place. And, you know, so many things have happened. I've tried so many different styles of videos. I've grown up, I've gotten better, occasionally gotten worse. And everything is just so different. But although some changes need to be made from here on out, I wouldn't change anything about it, about the journey up to this point. Just talking about the last few years that you would have known who I am or would have had any idea what I do, I've accomplished so much more than I ever thought was possible, and I've always had a hard time giving myself credit for that. I have never felt confident enough to have any pride in myself, but you know what? I'm gonna start working to change that. Although I'm very disappointed with a lot of the mistakes I've made in the last few years, or also the fact that simply this channel didn't do nearly as well as it could have. I should have worked harder at so many points. I should have done more at so many points. But again, just being nice to myself and just having a nice moment to look back on the things we've done. I've made so many videos that I genuinely think are fantastic. I've spoken to a bunch of developers and musicians and artists in my time on here, and that's always been really cool. I've even made some videos that I would say made a positive difference, or at the very least was just like a nice thing to do for smaller developers or other indie developers. I've been able to do charity work, which I am so unbelievably proud of. I even have a tattoo to honor it. And most importantly, a lot of you have reached out to me and told me how much my content means to you and how much just providing a little bit of entertainment can help some of you. And I totally understand that because I've definitely gotten the same out of YouTubers that I watched when I was younger or even currently. And most importantly, I have met my favorite people in the world. I have met some of the closest friends I will ever have and some genuinely beautiful people that I will never forget, even if we ever stop talking, even if we lose communication. I will never forget the bonds and relationships I have built by doing this. So, why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about how great I apparently am? Well, I have been thinking for a while now, and I've done a lot of growth this year. Not nearly as much as I would have liked to. Would have been nice if things were a little bit easier. But no, I've done a lot of thinking, and I've decided for a while, and I said this in a community post somewhat recently, I've decided that this is going to be my last year doing YouTube full-time. So don't worry, don't go anywhere, don't unsubscribe, please, we need to hit 100,000. I'm not going anywhere. I am going to keep making videos, I'm going to keep streaming, and honestly, the frequency might not even change that much. I'm not really sure yet. But, yeah, I'm not going anywhere, but YouTube has been my full-time job for technically 3 years, technically 2 years, depends on how you look at it. And, again, all of these fantastic things have happened. And I've been afraid to decide to not do that anymore, to not just do it constantly. I've been really afraid to make that decision, but I've decided for a while now that I don't want to do this full-time anymore. And I'll get into why. I don't know if this is something anybody will really be able to relate to, and I'm not sure if it's something that anybody really cares about, but it's been a very long time since I've just sat down and had a heart-to-heart with the camera. So, why am I quitting YouTube as a job? There are so many reasons, but the reason isn't actually money. If I were to just sit down and keep grinding YouTube and to keep putting 100% of my energy into it, I would continue to make a very comfortable living, enough to live off of income. I would have to work very hard, harder than admittedly I want to work on YouTube, which is part of what we'll get to, but, you know, I could survive off of YouTube if I really wanted to. I just don't want to. I think the first thing and most noteworthy things to talk about is just how isolating working from home is. I don't really know how people do it. I thought I could do it. I thought it was good for me because my relationship with being social has been very weird. And I always thought that working on my own, by myself, and for myself, and staying home most of the time was what I wanted. I've been antisocial for most of my life. I've always considered myself very introverted. But, you know, as I've grown up a little bit and I've kind of explored my emotions a bit, I realize that isn't the case. I've always had severe social anxiety, and for the longest time, I confused my social anxiety with a disliking of being social and talking to people and hanging out with people and being around people. But that was just never the case. I am very much a social creature. I very much actually prefer being around people and working with people and talking to people. I just need to kind of get this brain a little more stable. So yeah, that's kind of the main thing is I want a job that's in a social setting. I want my full-time position, whatever that may be, to be something that's where you have to be around people. You have to work with other people. You have to talk to people. That's something I need. And, like, genuinely, that's something I need. I need to get better at talking to people. I need to get more comfortable with talking to people. And, yeah, I felt very isolated these last couple of years doing YouTube full-time. It's been much more damaging to my mental health than I realized it was. So yeah, that's the biggest thing is I need something that's more social. But also, and this is also to do with my mental health, is when something becomes a job, it becomes less fun. That's just kind of inherently the case. And I've had very severe depression my entire life. It's always been so crushing, and it's ruined my life in so many ways. It's affected me in so many ways. And the one thing I always had that made me feel better, the one thing I could always come back to bring me a little bit of comfort, to put my soul at peace for just a little bit of time, like to get away from all the depression, all the anxiety, was I made videos. I've made thousands of videos in my time. Again, I started at 9 years old. I would just put on a game that I loved, and I'd record it, and I'd talk to my audience, which was like basically nobody. I'd do skits with my friends, which was just a really fun way to bond. I'd do very, very bad reviews of random games that I liked talking about. And I'd edit them, and for me, editing was like having a blank canvas that you could do whatever you want with. I would do, like, zoom edits, and I'd put images on screen and text on screen for funny bits. And that brought me so much joy in my childhood where most things didn't. Almost nothing did. I was always so unhappy. I was always so afraid. But when I was making videos, I felt like myself. I felt like I was having fun. And it was a very important thing for me. And I've kind of lost that. And that hurts really bad. Like, I still have YouTube. I still do it. And there are times where I still find it fun. But I don't get the same experience out of it whatsoever. And my mental health and my depression and my anxiety hasn't gotten better. It's not gone, that's for sure. I still feel so destructively unhappy all the time. And I no longer have that one thing that used to make it feel better. And that's also been very, very hard. And you might think, well, why don't I just start having fun with it again? Because that's not an option if I want this to be a job. If I want this to be a job, I gotta upload regularly. Doesn't matter if it's good or not, doesn't matter if I'm enjoying it or not, it has to be regularly. My channel very much has a theme right now. I've very much been able to gauge what people will click on and what people don't want to click on this channel in particular. They have to be about a topic that people will click on, even if I don't really care about the topic. And you know, I gotta title the video and I gotta thumbnail the video well. I can't just lazily throw it together, though I still tend to. But it's gotta be clickable, and you gotta think about viewer retention. You gotta think about all this techno mumbo bumbo bullshit. And I don't want to do that anymore, and I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of YouTube being a job. I want it to be fun again. So the only way I can do that is YouTube not being a job anymore. I need to have a stable income that isn't YouTube, and I need to have a source of income that isn't YouTube. So that way when I do make videos, I can just fuck around, and I can do whatever I want, and I can have fun. That's what I really need in life right now. And, you know, there's other reasons as well. Those are, like, the two biggest reasons, but there's other reasons as well. Like, one being that I'm tired of, like, acting like I care what people think about me. I've always been someone that really doesn't care what people think about me. And, like, when I say that, people think I'm lying, but it genuinely is true. I just care about what I think. And the problem is that I hate myself. So that's why that's never actually done me all that much justice. But I genuinely someone that doesn't really care what people think about me, and I really just want to be myself, and I really try to push to just be the best version of myself, regardless of what shit people throw my way. But when you're a public figure, when your job and your livelihood relies on what people think of you, you have to think about what people think of you. And it sucks. It really sucks. I want to be able to do whatever the fuck I want to do and say whatever the fuck I want to say without caring about what people will think about it. Like, I never thought I was an edgy person, but until I became a FNAF YouTuber, and I realized, wow, I can't do anything. Yeah, I want to stop being isolated. I want to start having fun with YouTube again. I want to stop giving a shit. I want to start doing whatever the hell I want to do. And yeah, I've decided the best way to do that would be to quit YouTube as my full-time job. And that might sound obvious when I've explained it to you. Now, sure, I guess you didn't see the many months of thinking and working on my mental health and exploring who I am as a person that got me to arrive at all those conclusions. But it might sound obvious. Like, it's an obvious decision to make now, at least. Like, quit YouTube as your full-time job. Yeah, just do it. But it's never been that easy. I've really thought that I will have to have YouTube as my full-time job because I didn't think I could do anything else. See, I dropped out of school. I dropped out of school when I was 16, I'm pretty sure that sounds right. Yeah, it's really, just fucked up the trajectory of my life, and I wasn't sure what else I could do, but I had this YouTube thing, and that's what I've been doing my whole life, and I have no other skills. And you could even say my skills in this field aren't all that great either. I've been doing YouTube my whole life. I've sunk every bit of my everything into doing YouTube, and now I have no education behind me. I really felt like I just had no choice but to do this, and if I didn't make it work, then I was fucked. I really, really thought forever, until recently, that if I couldn't make this YouTube thing work, life's over. What the fuck do I do at that point? I just give up. I have nothing else. But, you know, that's just not the case. You know, my past and my situation in life and what I've done with my life in the first almost 2 decades, you know, it definitely is going to make a lot of things in life for the rest of my life harder. I'm definitely in a position where things will be harder, but that doesn't mean this is my only option. That doesn't mean I can't look for other things or get educated or work hard to earn more things. I worked hard to earn this. I can work hard in other ways to earn other things. I also did kind of think that, like, quitting YouTube would be, like, flaking on a huge opportunity and also kind of, like, letting myself down. You know, I did YouTube for fun, and I never saw it becoming a career. I never thought that was possible. I really didn't. I did YouTube for, like, 7 years before earning $1. I didn't think YouTube was going to be my job ever. I just loved it. But if it could be my job, I would have always taken that. When I was a kid, Like, I didn't think it was possible. I never planned for it because I really didn't think it was possible. But then it happened. I got the opportunity to have YouTube as a job. And, like, if I gave up on that, and, like, my past self could see that I gave up on that, they'd be like, you piece of shit, why would you do this to me? Like, I don't know. It's just, I worked so hard for this, and this is so much of what I know. And wouldn't I be kind of a failure if I gave up on it? Like, wouldn't I kind of be proving that I couldn't do it in a way? Like, you're not making enough money on YouTube, you're not doing YouTube for your full-time job, that means you didn't make it. That's kind of what I was thinking. But, like, you know, at the start of this video, I went on about the things I have achieved in these last few years. And yeah, I've come to the conclusion that I already made it. I could have made it a lot further. I could have done a lot more. But I have nothing to be embarrassed of by just saying this isn't what I want anymore. I, as a teenager, made tens of thousands of dollars making YouTube videos. And I also entertained thousands, communicated with thousands, made some pretty good content, I would say, met some of my favorite people in the world, contributed to charity. I have nothing to be ashamed of by just saying, there's other things I want in life now. This will just be a chapter of my life that we're going to close the book on. So yeah, that's kind of just where I've been at. That's just, again, kind of what I've been thinking lately. And, yeah, it's taken a lot for me to get to this point where I'm comfortable in saying, no longer doing YouTube full time. I have plans for what I want to do instead. And it's also, it's taken a lot for me to get to a point where I can say, I'm content with the work that I've done. So, what does this mean for you guys? In my opinion, really only good things. Because here's the thing. It's likely that uploads and streams in the new year and onwards will slow down in frequency and, you know, consistency. But it's also worth thinking about that, in my humble opinion, y'all just have to prove it to you, everything that I do will be better. Videos might slow down a bit, but they're just going to be better because I'm going to be doing them because I'm passionate about them. I'm going to be, and don't worry, we're still going to mostly stick to the theme of the channel, actually. Like, mascot horror and indie horror are things that I'm passionate about, so we're still going to see plenty of that, just less like cookie-cutter videos about a new thing that came out, and we're going to talk about it just because it's the new thing that came out, and here's my rating of it, it's been 9 minutes, we're good to go. Less of that. The theme of the channel is actually still pretty much going to completely stay, but I'm going to just talk about things that I want to talk about, and I'm going to have rambly side tangents in videos about things that I find interesting, and I'm going to try to incorporate, like, things about my old work that I really liked into my new work. For example, if you're a channel member, or if you've ever been in a chat with a channel member, you may have seen this guy at some point. This is Bob. Bob is a character I created when I was 8 years old. Bob is a round ball creature. He's green, and his defining features are he has bushy-ass eyebrows, a goatee, and he has a giant mole on the sides of his face. That's a mole, if you were wondering. I've always had a dream of Bob being like a mascot for my channel. I've always wanted that, and I think I'm going to finally do it. I'm going to think of him kind of like, if you're, I'm sure most of you are, yeah, fans. I remember he has a sponsor parrot. Sometimes, at least, when he has a sponsor for a video, that sponsor gets brought in by a parrot. That's just a character in the, yeah, world. I kind of want to do something like that. Bob has been a part of my YouTube journey the whole way through, and I've never done anything significant with him. And I kind of just wanted to start being like a side gag in videos, like a gag on the side. I don't know what else you call that. I want it to be a little part of like the baddest world. And speaking of the baddest world, I want to be able to make videos that aren't like big actual video essays and just kind of throw them up on the main channel, like this video. I used to do videos on my channel when barely anyone was watching, where I would just sit down and talk to the camera because I like doing that. I like being able to talk to the audience. But now I'm like, well, if I do that, it'll tank the whole fucking channel, so I can't do that anymore. Fuck that. I'm just gonna do whatever I want to do, and that's one of the things I miss doing. I want to be able to just sit down and talk to the camera. I want to do things that aren't video essay content, or like about the theme of the channel. One thing I've been thinking of doing for a long time is a video about the lore of the baddest character, because I've always said this character has lore. I've always said this isn't just my Sona. This is very much a character that I've written a lot about. I have a Google Doc of like story elements, just one-off facts, just everything about this character is just on a big Google Doc, and I want to do a video where I just talk about the lore of the character. You know, I love the baddest. I love the name. I love the brand I've always envisioned for it. I love the character. I love Bob. And I just want to do what I've always wanted to do with all of that. But again, I've been afraid to, in fear of tanking the whole channel. I haven't had the time to, because I'm always working on a video that will actually get views. Or I'm taking a break because I'm so goddamn unhappy. Like, if you've seen this channel for any period of time, you've seen me go 1, 2, 3 months without making a video. It's because I'm just so crushingly unhappy I don't have the motivation to work. And I can't have that anymore, man. This is YouTube. I love this so much. I have loved this for years. I can't have that happen anymore. Like, if I'm taking a long time hiatus from YouTube, I need it to be because I got a big project I want to work on. Or I'm brainstorming ideas for things that I'll actually really love to do. I can't have it be because I hate what I'm doing. I can't have that anymore. So yeah, that's really all I gotta say. Again, this was just a video for my actual fans that actually care about this shit. That's where I've been at. That's what I've been thinking about. I will be doing, for the rest of the year, I will be doing YouTube full-time. So we're going to be doing 1 video a week for all of December, as well as streams. And the second channel will be up and running. Go subscribe to my second channel, please, if you want some music-related content. That's where I do videos about music. And, yeah, December I'm going to be treating like a job. Which doesn't mean I'm going to be so crushingly unhappy I'll want to kill myself. It's not necessarily what that means, but I will be treating December like a job. So yeah, be on the lookout for that stuff, because I do think it will be good, but yeah, just going forward, I'm done doing YouTube full-time, and this channel's just going to become a lot more fun. It's going to become what I've always wanted the baddest YouTube channel to be, and I could just never make it that, but I'm going to change that. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for everything. Thank you for, if you've been here for almost 10 years, or if you just watched the channel last week, or today even, thank you. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for everything. Like, again, genuinely, this was a childhood dream of mine that became a reality purely because you guys supported me. And I'll never take that for granted, and I'll never forget that, and I'll always be so unspeakably appreciative of that fact. And again, I want to say thank you to my friends, you know. I have met pretty much all of my closest friends right now through YouTube, and they have been so lovely. They are the best people I've ever met, and I appreciate them so much. So yeah, thank you for everything you've done for me as well. Even if you don't feel like you've done much for me, trust me, you have. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for everything. And if anything I've said today resonated with you whatsoever, my best advice simply is don't beat yourself up too much. You know, just let yourself grow up, let yourself evolve, let yourself just explore other avenues in life, explore the world, just explore your own mind. Like, don't let yourself get trapped in a box. That's the message of today's video. That's the lesson we got from this. Don't let yourself be trapped in a box. Do what's best for you. And there's always more options than what you think there is. Like, your abilities are endless. So yeah, thank you so much once again. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.